up today and decided, you know what, let me use 1% of my brain. This will be the full story of Shanks and Loki, not as a theory, but as a fact. The story starts with Shanks and Roger having their talk and Shanks finding out he's a FEXR land. Shortly after Roger's execution, this is where he'd be recruited to be a holy knight and he'd go up to Marijua. Shanks was of course fine with this because he could use this as leverage. He could be the double agent. Except Shanks didn't realize that to be summoned by these demonic circles, you need a tattoo or a marking on your arm. You can see clearly with St. Summers, he's got that mark on his arm which allows him to be summoned. But to prove his allegiance to the holy knights, he was given a mission to go either recruit Harold or if he didn't join, assassinate him. Sound familiar? Obviously the latter happened, but in order to maintain his image as the peacemaker, the blame was put on Loki. Loki willingly accepted the blame, except there was one issue. He didn't have his father's devil fruit. Kings wouldn't eat this devil fruit. They would pass it down from generation to generation. Which brings us to the next part of Shanks' secret mission, and that was retrieving the sun god fruit. Except the world government would never trust Shanks to retrieve the sun god fruit. He's a brand new holy knight that was also on Roger's crew. So this mission was a test, and Shanks knew that because the legendary fruit he had retrieved was not the right sun god fruit. The one that Loki currently has, because the real one was being transported on a CP-9 ship. Shanks immediately set out to sea to go steal the real sun god fruit, with Loki following him out to sea. He was successful in stealing the real sun god fruit, and this is where he was faced with two options. One, he could either give the fruit to the world government, proving his allegiance with the holy knights, or two, give the fruit to Ace. This is that whole double agent thing I was talking about. That was the mission that Goldie Roger entrusted him with. Except all of that got thrown out the window because Luffy's an idiot. Unlike Luffy, Shanks is not an idiot. He realized that this Zoan fruit has a will of its own. It chose Luffy. That is why he gave up his arm and made his bet on Luffy. The arm that was bitten off was the arm that had the tattoo on it that allowed him to be summoned by the holy knights. The gamble Shanks took was cutting his ties with the world government. Shanks giving Loki the other sun god fruit could have happened before Luffy or after Luffy, the timelines were. King Harold was killed 14 years ago while Luffy ate the fruit 13 years ago. 2 years passed by, and once Loki finally returned to Elbaf, the Giants were still seeking retribution for the King Harold death. Shanks was there to help the Giants chain up Loki. Saw this as an opportunity to gain Elbaf's trust, but to also protect Loki from holy knights trying to recruit him. All of this is why Loki calls Shanks a coward. Everything Shanks does is trying to maintain balance and keep the peace. He is the peacemaker. Loki being tied up to the cross is a perfect parallel to Zoro. Shanks also gave two people on this mural a sun god fruit. One of them is a super Shanks glazer, while the other absolutely despises him.